Be very, very quiet.
Quiet.
I'm Duke Nukem, and you're watching Revenant Evil.
I was playing Quake recently, and to my surprise, I heard this. Wait, I know that sound. Is that a PIGCOP? Which got me wondering, what is that sound effect and where does it come from? And while we're at it, where do all of the sound effects in Duke 3D come from? With these questions fresh in my mind, I decided to set out to find everything I could about Duke 3D's sound effects. Hello everyone. I'm Evil, and today I'd like to invite you to join me as we take a look at the surprising origins of Duke 3D's sound effects. I hope you enjoy. So, what is my motivation here? Why would somebody want to find the source of these sounds? Well, there's a couple of reasons. For one, there's the curiosity. I've been playing Duke Nukem for a long time, and I've often wondered where these sounds come from. Then, there's also the fact that Duke 3D was made at a time when disk space was limited, so sound effects would often have to be heavily compressed. But if we're able to find the source, we could then use them to create higher quality sound clips to use in-game, which are good enough reasons for me. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. What is this sound? And where did it come from? To find answers, I took to the internet to see what I could find. Initially, my search led me to Bobby Prince's website, where back in 2017, he answered a fan's question regarding the origins of the Battlelord and OCTABRAIN sound effects. He says that many of the sounds we hear in the game are actually animal noises, but more importantly, he reveals that the source of the sounds are either from his own recordings or from sound effects CDs, which is great news. This means that, providing we can find the sound library, we should be able to find the source of some of these sound effects. And thankfully, some diligent Doom fans have already done a lot of the legwork. After doing some more research, I discovered that back in 2014, a poster by the name of PerChristian made a post on the Doom World forums, declaring that in his search for the original Doom sound effects, he stumbled upon a bunch for Duke 3D. And so the primary sound library was found. It looks as though most of the sounds were taken from the Sound Ideas sound library, which is one of the largest sound libraries in the world. And considering just how vast the library is, finding all of the sound effects wasn't going to be an easy task. But my search for sound effects continued, and my research would lead me to this guy, who had put together a handy spreadsheet of currently found sounds. So, let's jump in and take a look at some of these sound effects. First of all, let's take a look at the boss enemies. Here is the Battlelord's roaming sound, which was taken from the Sound Ideas sound effects library. It's instantly recognizable as the Battlelord's cry, and it appears as though, besides being slightly faster, not much was done in regards to changes. Over the years, it's been used in a bunch of movies, cartoons and TV shows, but the first known instance of the sound effect was from the 1957 movie, The Land Unknown. The Battlelord's pain sound uses the same stock sound effect, but it's been sped up and had its pitch lowered. The Boss 1 RG sound uses the animal creature sound effect. To recreate it, I've sped it up to around 200% and lowered its pitch by 5 semitones. Unfortunately, I'm not sure on the exact sources used for the Overlord and Cycloid Emperor, but thankfully Bobby Prince uploaded a bunch of sounds for these bosses to his SoundCloud, which even included some that went unused. Looking through these clips reveals that they were, at least in part, taken from the T-Rex from Jurassic Park. Undeniable. It seems that the developers opted to use the sounds that were a bit more ambiguous. Let's move on and take a look at some enemies. So, that PIGCOP sound that's also in Quake. Any ideas as to what it is? Well, the source was found, and it's actually the sound of a growling bobcat. Wow. Trying to recreate it, I slowed the clip to around 70% and then lowered the pitch by about 8 semitones. The PIGCOP's death cry seems to be a snippet from a much longer source clip of baby pigs. If we crop the file, lower its tone, and slow it down to around 70%, we can get a close approximation to the sound we're familiar with. The PIGCOP roam and pain sounds were taken from this clip. Specifically, if we isolate these sections, we will hear them. Even without editing, they sound pretty much the same to me. Now I must tip my hat to whoever found this one. The Assault Trooper death cry is derived from this scream. In my best attempt to recreate it, I first lowered the pitch by 13 semitones, then sped it up to around 300%. The Assault Trooper's pain sound effect also uses the Battlelord's roaming sound, but with its speed and pitch altered. The Enforcer uses a lot of the same sound effects as the Assault Trooper, but it does have a unique sound effect for its spit attack. This sound clip of a growling lion was used to make the effect. This OCTABRAIN sound was made from this source clip called Horror Screech. It seems to me, to create this sound, Bobby lowered the pitch quite considerably. This one surprised me quite a bit. The sound an OCTABRAIN makes when it notices you is thought to be an edited clip of Elmer Fudd saying quiet.
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 But is it really Elmer Fudd? Well, I can't confirm if this is legitimate, but according to this post on the Doomworld forums, a user by the name of Boingo allegedly reached out to Bobby and got a reply. But the short answer is, he doesn't remember. If it is Elmer Fudd, then it was probably already altered and a part of his sound effects CD, mislabeled as an animal sound. But it could also just be a coincidence. Although, when I edited the Elmer Fudd clip, I managed to make it sound pretty close to the OCTABRAIN. But what if we reverse engineer the OCTABRAIN sound clip? Does it sound like Elmer Fudd? Let's give it a try. I mean, yeah, I can totally hear it. If this is true, then it's crazy. What do you guys think? I think it's also worth mentioning that Bobby also used this same sound effect to create the sound of the Mancubus from Doom. Cool. To recreate the OCTABRAIN's roam sound, first we take the horror screech sound effect and slow it down by about 10%. Then we lower the pitch until it matches. The noise the SENTRY drone makes when charging you is actually the sound of a Vietnamese pot-bellied pig. I bet you didn't see that coming. It sounds as though the original had also been combined with another sound, but it's unclear as to what. If I were to guess, it could be the sound of a rattlesnake. The SENTRY drone is said to have replaced the scrapped snakehead enemy, hence the naming of its sound files, so I think it makes sense. This sound effect uses a generic animal noise found in the Sound Ideas library, which has been sped up. And this one uses the same sound, but with the pitch lowered. The PROTOZOID Slimer's attack sound was taken from this source. Nice. To make the sound, they play a small section of it, but in reverse. Probably the most memorable sound from the Slimer is unfortunately missing, but the noise the Slimer makes when moving is taken from the source sound clip called Horror Slime Slither. In my attempt at a recreation, I had to chop two parts together and mess around with the speed. Time to take a look at some of the weapon sounds. The sound that appears when pulling out a weapon is a barely edited stock sound. The pistol's firing sound is thought to have been taken from this stock sound effect. Although it looks like the clip-in and clip-out sounds were basically lifted wholesale from these source clips, with a few small alterations. The shotgun's firing sound is thought to have been taken from this clip. And the shotgun's kick sound was also found in the library. The chain gun's firing sound was found in the clip Gun Silencer. The expander's fire sound was found in the Hanna-Barbera sound library, where it is known as Sci-Fi Heat Ray. The sound that plays when you freeze an enemy was also found. The source is called Cartoon Bell. Some of the most memorable sounds from Duke often come in the form of background ambient tracks, and thankfully we've found some of them. Namely, War Ambience 1 reminds us that Duke's not the last man on Earth, as there's someone piloting a helicopter above. And the source is from this clip. Here is War Ambience 2. Which uses the first half of this next clip, but it's been slowed down to around 80%. Here are some miscellaneous sounds that I thought were worth checking out. Here's another good one. Duke will sometimes make this sound, which was taken from the source clip Human Groan. I find this one cool for two reasons. One, it's not John St. John, so there's someone out there who unknowingly voiced Duke. And two, this same clip is also used for Doom Guy's pain sound. Well, that settles it. Doom Guy is Duke Nukem, confirmed. Now, I must admit that it took me the longest time to realise that this sound was actually meant to be from the mice. Anyway, the source was found, and now we can hear the original clip in all its glory. Awesome. This door sound was sped up to more closely match the speed the doors open in the game. These squish sound effects were also found. And the sound for pressing switches was taken from here. And the pool table, and water droplet. And last but least, the toilet flush sound was also found. I didn't realize it was so splatty. Nice. I find it incredibly interesting to know where these sound effects come from. Who would have thought that the SENTRY drone was the sound of a Vietnamese pot-bellied pig, or that the OCTABRAIN might actually be Alma Fudd? Crazy. We went through a lot of sound effects today, though a bunch of them are still unaccounted for. And due to the fact that Bobby Prince would often make his own sounds, there's a chance that some may never be found, which is a shame. But there's also a chance that some of these sounds do still exist, buried deep in a sound effects library waiting to be discovered. So if you're up for the challenge, why not hop online and do some digging for yourself? And it's worth noting that the guys that discovered most of these sounds have put them together into a high quality sound effects mod that I highly recommend checking out. If a specific source wasn't found, then they would use the sound effects from the game and upscale them, and they've done a really good job. I've had a lot of fun looking into Duke 3D sound effects, but I would like to know, have you ever wondered where these sounds come from? Which sound surprised you the most? And will you ever look at the OCTABRAIN the same again? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to Revenant Evil, or I'll kick your ass. Much better.